your body looks for nutrients. It doesn't track calories, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
not just looking for
Mm-hmm.
bulk. This is like, well, as long as this thing is sack is full, we'll trust you. It's like
Yeah.
no, your body's way more sophisticated than that. And you have
Yes.
receptors in your stomach that track up your vagus nerve to your brain and actually keep track of the amount of nutrients that are in your stomach right then and there. So it
Wow,
doesn't
I
have
didn't know
to.
that.
Yeah, yeah. So this is why you get that feeling of satiety long before those nutrients are inside your body and your body has all the nutrients it needs. Your body knows what's coming down the pike. So
Mm.
your body can see that and just go like, oh, okay, we have some, but we want more. So things still taste good. That meat is still desirable and it still
Mm-hmm.
tastes good. But you'll notice it tastes slightly less good as you go, and then eventually it doesn't taste good at all, and you have a bite that just sort of tastes like cardboard. And like, that's weird. It's not really interesting anymore, and you just stop. If you finish a steak and it's good to the last bite, you're probably gonna make another steak because your body's telling you that it still wants more. You should probably have a bit of leftovers, at least at the beginning, until you sort of can understand what your body's telling you and how much it wants, and you can sort of
Yeah.
gauge how much you want. And
Wow.
but that's how it does that. Yeah. And so long before your body absorbs it, your body's looking in the stomach going like, yep, that's enough. We're done. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
you're eating vegetables and fruit and grains and other sorts of things that don't necessarily have the nutrient density of meat and, there's anti-nutrients and toxins aside, but they just don't have those requisite nutrients. They just have bulk because there's a lot of fiber. It's stretching your stomach. You're getting physically full, but
Oh my
your hunger is
gosh.
not actually satisfied because
Yeah.
your body can see is like, yeah, there's nothing in here. Yeah, there's stuff, but
It's
we
just
actually need
stuff.
food,
It's
And
crazy.
so,
It's so true because I would feel that. And I mean, I was raw vegan for a year.
mm,
I tried everything and it wasn't to try to solve. Now, when I was younger, I modeled a lot. So I was very
mhm,
thin, very lean, like very thin. Fit, but lean, 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 thin. And I was trying to stay skinny for modeling because they would always be like, you're too big. So I would try different, ways to kind of eat to fill myself up exactly what you said, but not overeat. And raw vegan, I felt a lot of energy on it. I felt great. It was very impractical though. I'm bringing avocados on me, to eat on the plane. I was just like, that's all I could eat, and apples, and then it was very tough because I also craved cooked warm foods, right? Like comfort. And I never felt full. Like I did get more energy. I think it was better than eating the cooked vegetables for me, but it didn't. And at the end of the day, I'm like, it doesn't give me what I want. So when I switched my goals to bodybuilding and I said, now I need to build muscle, I competed as a vegan and won two trophies,
that's
but which, thank you, was amazing. Um, but I ate so many grains. The diet I had a trainer for that. The diet I was on was so grain filled, so many protein shakes. And so it was not, even though it got the desired effect, I felt awful, right? Like I
mm,
felt miserable. I looked fantastic. Now, eating carnivore and lifting, I can lift for 2 hours and I like to lift heavy and I
mhm,
feel incredible. Like I don't feel bad. I feel satiated. I also feel like very like, yeah, I'm gonna dig into the steak and like I earned it, I deserve it. And then after I feel like, oh yeah, I fed my body. My body feels happy. It's
mhm.
crazy. I don't feel snacky. I used to snack on a lot of chips and a lot of like things like that that I would have said is healthy. And then the way I counsel and consult with my clients is different too, because I say, hey, listen, why don't you add some more meat there? Why don't you add butter? They'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I was cooking with butter. You should cook with butter. Yes, tallow, beef tallow.
Mm,
I'm one of those converts now. And my clients are happier because it's
nice.
just practical. It's easy. Yeah, have the burger, take off the bun.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even little things like that, just moving in the right direction, is
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
makes a huge difference for people and their both their results and their health. And we see so many people when they're trying to lose weight, maybe for model you want to stay skinny, so oh, well, I'm going to go vegan. I'll just have a
Hmm.
high fiber food that fills up my stomach,
Yeah.
but doesn't actually give me any nutrition. That was the argument in the 80s and early 90s. You may remember this as a kid. I certainly
Mhm.
do that they said, well, to satisfy your hunger, go on a diet, eat a bunch of vegetables because it has all this fiber, but it doesn't have any calories. And so there's like the
Oh yeah.
celery diet where you can eat, it takes more calories to
To,
process
to
the
chew
celery than
it.
it does than you get from the celery. And so it's just
Yeah.
like eat as much celery as you want. You'll just be losing weight, losing weight. It was just
Who
like,
wants to live that
yeah,
life? It's a
yeah, well,
horrible life.
it
Dieting is
is. Yeah,
horrible.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
a
it is.
lifestyle. It's
Yeah.
awful. And I love fats. That's what, I was very low on omega fatty acids, and I used to,
Mm-hmm.
I used to supplement those being a vegan. And I healed so many of this tiredness, this agitation, this hunger, this what it's even hard to classify, but I know you know what I'm talking about. Something
Mm-hmm.
that's running this tape. It must be the body going like, feed me nutrients, feed me nutrients. That went away when I started eating high fats.
Mm-hmm.
First was salmon. I love salmon, but to be honest, my favorite food right now is just beef. Like I just eat steaks and butter all
Yeah,
day.
me
I'm
too.
such a
Yeah,
beef bro, right? Yes, I feel
yeah.
like it's so
It's
good.
good. Tastes amazing. And when
Yeah.
especially when people are trying to stay slim, or women, they go into like a vegan thing, and
Mm-hmm.
and some people it becomes an eating disorder because they want to stay
Mm-hmm.
skin and they're skinny and they're quite obsessed with it. And so
Yeah.
they want to eat these things, and because they think, if you eat meat or fat, you're going to get fat. There's no chance in hell
Yeah.
that I'm going to do that. But
Yeah.
you look back at the the beauty icons, of previous times. And what do they eat? Well, Marilyn Monroe was very open. She ate bacon and eggs every morning. She ate a lot of meat. She was very clear. She ate a lot of meat. That was her main staple, was
Wow. I
fatty
didn't
meat and
know that.
eggs. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and she wasn't a Calvin Klein, paperclip model,
Thank
but
God, because nobody
thank
wants
God.
that
Exactly.
anymore. It's
Exactly.
and that's
Yeah.
not the way a feminine body should look. Some women
Yeah.
are naturally thin, it's okay. But
Yeah.
now my programs, I have my women, I call them my curvy, confident queens. I have the
Hmm.
ladies that want to build a booty. They want to have nice, juicy glutes. They want to have
Mm.
soft, feminine curves, but they want to have lower body fat, but some body fat, right? And
Hmm.
muscle. And the men want to be ripped, strong kings. So I train people so differently now than I did before. And I would have told you I had a healthy mindset. So it's so important to have pushback and conversations and watch the opposite views, because we can be in a bubble. I was the most
Hmm.
stubborn. I would have told you, yeah, in my 20s, I'm the most healthy. I know exactly, I know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
But when you start to see, this is why I love the internet too, that we have so many different opinions and ideas and podcasts like this. So you have
Hmm.
conversations. Someone might listen to this and be like, oh, yeah, I think a little bit like him. I think a little bit like her, and then form your own opinion. And
Hmm.
that's the basis of everything. Form your own opinion, do some experimentation. That's why I had to try a carnivore. I was like, okay, I'm hating on these guys, but I'm already eating meat. So, like, I've been wanting to do something I call like a carnivore cleanse because I was
Hmm.
big into the cleanse. I did juicing and I love fasting and I love, so I said, okay, what if I did a carnivore cleanse? Because I loved bread. Sourdough bread was my
Hmm.
Achilles heel. Can't keep it in the house. It would just be gone. And my husband would make fun of me. But now we keep bread here because he eats bread. I don't eat it. I don't touch it. I don't think about it. I'll have a carnivore cake. I made carnivore ice cream the other day. I'm always making some kind of carnivore-ish muffins, with
Hmm.
cheese, and I'll mix eggs. I use beef tallow for everything, tons of sea salt. I noticed when I eat more salt, like I have sea salt in my water here, and I eat more fats, it's easier to just eat meat. Because at first I thought this is going to be hard. It wasn't hard in the
Hmm.
beginning because I was doing lots of salts and fats. And then probably the third week, it got a little rougher. And
Hmm.
then this week, I've had cravings because I'm on my cycle. So I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, time to bring out that carnivore chocolate cake, carnivore ice cream, like make me feel like I'm eating naughty things, but it's healthy. I'm not even eating
Hmm.
any fruit. And I
Hmm.
kind of, when I started eating meat, I kind of stopped eating fruit. It's interesting because I
Hmm.
don't see it. I know some carnivore people eat a little bit of berries, right? Do you
Hmm.
eat some fruit or you just, no, you're
No.
pure 100%.
Yeah,
Woo!
100%. Never cheated, never had a cheat day, never wanted to, you
That's
know.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Hey everyone, really happy to announce a new sponsor for the show and for everybody down in Australia, Stockman Steaks, who are delivering high quality grass-fed and finished pasture-raised beef and other meats, flash frozen and vacuum sealed to your door, something that I've been enjoying a lot of myself recently as well. They also have a great range of specialty items such as high-fat keto mince and carnivore beef and organs mince with liver, kidneys, and beef heart as well. So use code Chaffee today for a free order of beef mince or another specialty gift along with your order at stockmansteaks.com.au, and I'll see you over there. Thanks, guys.
That
Yeah.
is it. That's, and you don't find a lack of variety in the carnivore diet?
No, I mean, the thing is if, I've always just wanted to eat steak anyway for my birthdays every year. My mom was an amazing cook. I mean, she like just absolutely fantastic. And she has over 500 cookbooks. She has read all of them.
What?
She has used all of them. She absolutely
Wow.
just loves like the culinary,
Hmm.
experience and just of making the food and mixing these things together. And even the
Hmm.
chemistry and the chemical, bonds and connections that they make.
Hmm.
They've got a chef, Alton Brown, who goes into like the chemistry behind
Oh.
food and how these things mix together and these chemical bonds and reactions that make these flavors that you're looking for. And so my mom loves all that stuff. And so we'd have these like amazing dinners all the time. But for our birthday, it was just like whatever you want. She's going to make like the
Mm.
dinner you wanted. All I wanted every year was just like as much steak as I could eat, not just like the portion for the table. And there's 7 people in the family, so it's just like you didn't necessarily get all the meat that you wanted. And I always wanted a lot of meat,
Yeah.
but it was like it's my birthday. I want big ass steaks. I want to be able to keep eating steak until I don't want to eat steak anymore. I just want as much, just big
Just
steaks,
half a cow.
with like, yeah, with like some like hollandaise sauce or something like that, like or
Mm.
béarnaise sauce on it at the time. And so that's what I would do. And then when I started doing carnivore full on and intentionally so, knowing this is what I was doing, I wasn't just like, well, I'm not going to eat plants or whatever, and just defaulting into carnivore. Um, it just felt so wonderful, and it just felt so right. And every day, I was just eating a big, amazing steak until I felt like not eating anymore. And I said to my dad, I was like, it just feels like my birthday every day because I
Ah,
get I get exactly what I want every single day. I just have this big,
wow.
amazing steak. This is like my special birthday meal that I have to wait once a year for just to really treat myself. I get this every day. Every single day I get this
Amazing.
amazing steak. And so, there's nothing else that I want.
That's
Um, you know,
awesome.
yeah, the only times I'll sort of snack on like a bit of cheese or lunch meat or something like that is just like if I don't have steaks cut up and I'm like just too lazy to like do something. I'm like, oh, I'll have this right now. I'll cut something up later or something like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's just steaks. And so with when
Wow.
I'm with other people and things like that, or we're traveling, or I'm at visiting family, there's always meat available. I can always cook it, but there might be other other things around. It doesn't tempt me, but
Mm.
in when I'm in my house is just meat. It's just stacks of
Yeah.
meat. And
Just
so it's like
stacking.
my fridge is like a butcher's,
I
shop. It's
bet.
like
Yeah.
it's
Just,
so
yeah. Do
I've
you
got
eat
meat.
fish as well?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, if like,
Yeah.
wild caught and
Nice.
only. And but 99% of what I eat is just beef.
I love
And
that.
so yeah, so I have whole fridge, and I've got big Cryovac packs of beef that are just sitting there wet aging. And then I've got them cut up and, salted if back when I used salt. Now I don't use salt.
You don't use
I just
salt?
It just doesn't taste good to me anymore. At first,
Wow,
at
that's
first it's a good idea to
incredible.
use salt though, especially if
Yeah.
your body's craving it, because when
Yeah.
your insulin levels are coming down, when you go ketogenic, it's not carnivore, it's ketogenic, and when your insulin levels come down, you
Hmm.
can lose too much salt out of your kidneys,
Yeah.
and um, and
I noticed
so
that and I get really
yeah,
tired until I would put salt in water
yeah, and
or on my food.
so yeah, you lose the salt, so you get salt wasting in your urine, and you also get dehydrated. So,
Oh,
and the dehydration
yeah.
can really make you tired as well, and so
Yeah.
adding in more water and some more salt to replace that can be really
Yeah.
helpful. And then eventually you get keto adapted and your insulin levels just sort of normalize. And then you're not losing as much. You don't need as much. There's some people I know one person that years onto a ketogenic diet still
Yeah.
needs to add just a buttload of salt. I mean, like 7 grams a day, like just tons
Ooh.
of salt, and taking
Mm-hmm.
salt tablets and things because that's what he needs. He feels
Yeah.
he doesn't feel good without that,
Yeah.
and whereas otherwise he feels fantastic otherwise. And but everybody else, it's just that sort of levels off. And
It
for
levels
me,
off.
I would
Okay.
salt. Yeah, I salted pretty heavily at first, and then that sort of went down and down and down and down and down until now, like bacon just tastes intensely salty to me. And
Wow.
so, yeah, and that sort of
Like
sucks because
your
I
body
like
got its
bacon.
salt stores. It's fine
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
wild. So
Well,
you do limited dairy,
yeah,
limited.
very
Do you drink
limited. Yeah,
raw milk?
very rarely. Like once a
Okay.
year sort of thing. Yeah,
Oh wow, because we
yeah,
drink raw milk in the house.
yeah. Well,
Um,
it's really
yeah.
good for you. It's like
Yeah.
it has tons of nutrients and a lot of
Yeah.
things that are very beneficial. It has enough carbohydrates that it will spike your insulin. And I've checked that on
Mm-hmm.
myself,
Mm-hmm.
drank raw milk for, 3 days in a row. And I checked my insulin. It absolutely came up. My fasting insulin came up.
Oh
And
wow.
so, that did have an effect, um, on me anyway. And, so it can be enough, depending on how much you drink, it can spike your insulin enough to kick you out of ketosis. And I do think that ketosis is a useful thing to be in. If you're having a glass of milk with
Mm-hmm.
your meal or something like that, it's probably not a big deal. The
Mm.
problem comes when you keep going back because it has casomorphines, which are I don't know, addiction is not the right word, but it does cause like sort of compulsive eating. And it tells the
Mm.
baby mammal, hey, keep eating, keep eating, keep eating, keep eating, so that it
Yeah.
grows because baby animals are vulnerable. They get eaten. And so,
Right.
you're
Right.
trying to protect these things. We're not like lizards or frogs that are having, thousands of little babies, per
Yeah.
clutch. We've got, one or two, and like these little suckers need to survive,
Right.
or else we're done. And so that those casomorphines and I believe the carbs, as well, will cause them to say, "Oh, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more," and so that does
Mm-hmm.
that to us, and then we end up eating more than we want, or sort of have a compulsive sort of relationship with that raw milk. So
Mm-hmm.
like when
Mm-hmm.
I get my hands on raw milk, it doesn't last long, and so
The
like
treat.
I'm like you with the sourdough bread, like it doesn't it doesn't
Gone.
sit around.
I
Yeah.
know.
And so
That
if I have like a regular supply of that, I'm just drinking a lot of that. And I'm just like, okay, no, I
you
gotta
don't need
stop.
that.
No, get
Exactly.
that
It's
out of
your
there.
addiction. Do you
Yeah.
do any keto or I should say carnivore desserts?
Um, it's more steak usually,
Just more
like,
steak? Yeah.
yeah. I don't use any sweeteners or anything like that because the
That's
sweeteners
amazing.
they can actually re-trigger the carb cravings and the sugar cravings and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so even though they're not sugar, they can still trigger some of those centers in your brain saying like, "Oh, sweet, remember that?" And then you want
Oh,
that
yeah.
sweetness
Is there
again.
any sweetener that doesn't do that? I know allulose is a big one trending now.
Um, I think they'll all give a bit of that because it goes through sort of your limbic system and your memory and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, "Oh, like that."
Yeah.
They're
Is it
gonna,
better to just do the honey or the maple syrup in that point?
I think allulose would be better than that
Okay.
because it, I don't know for sure that allulose doesn't do this, but I'm not aware of allulose giving like a dopamine hit to your reward centers of your brain like fructose does. So fructose is actually addictive.
Mm.
It's an actual addictive drug. By the
Oh, yeah.
strictest medical definition, it is a drug. And so like from honey or
Crazy.
fruit or maple syrup, there's a lot of fructose in there. There's actually
Ah.
there's a difference and varies in honey, but in some honeys have more fructose than high fructose corn syrup. So it's very high
Wow.
in fructose. It has other
Yeah.
things that are beneficial in there too, but you get the bad with the good.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of that. And the fructose is addictive. It gives a large dopamine hit to your addiction centers in your brain,
Hmm.
just like cocaine, heroin, and meth.
It's
And they've
crazy.
done studies with MRIs with humans, giving them like a, some sort of amphetamine, like a, an Adderall or something like that, to like,
Hmm.
someone who's not addicted to any of these things. And those those reward centers light up like a Christmas tree, right? Which is why you're like, oh, yes, that was good.
Yep.
Um, then they give that same dose to a meth addict, and it barely twinkles because all those areas have actually been so worn out with the meth addiction that they've actually died, and
Oh,
there's barely anything left. But then they gave that same dose to a sugar addict who's metabolically sick, and same barely twinkle as the meth addict. So this is addictive as
crazy.
these
We should do
hard
that with
drugs.
social media addicts too. See what it's
Probably,
probably the same
probably very
because it's a
similar. Yeah.
dopamine hit. I started my days off with prayer and worship now,
Hmm.
and I don't even look at my phone
Good.
because I used to be so addicted to looking at my phone in the
Mm.
morning. And I thought, well, I'm not looking at Instagram. I'm checking my emails. I'm being very organized. We were talking about that.
Hmm.
Now I'm like, my assistant looks at my emails. My mornings are for me. I kiss my husband. I praise the Lord. I spend a
Hmm.
good hour. I read my Bible. I do anything without screens. Before
Nice.
then, I jump on and do my live show because and then when I'm already on cameras and in front of computers and electronics all day, I try to get
Hmm.
out and touch grass because it's addicting. All this like, and it can cause this anxiety. The dopamine hits like sugar. The dopamine hits like social media.
Hmm.
We don't want to have any of that stuff. It's just all unnatural. I feel like I'm so grateful that people, for you and for people
Yeah.
like you and me and people who are starting to become more aware of this, we're going back to nature. We're going back to the
Hmm.
way our bodies were created to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I love that. I hate my phone. I hate having to be stuck to it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just such a shame because I do so much of my work through that, so much communication and messages.
Hmm.
I think it's made it overly complicated and unnecessarily complicated. I mean, we have 50 different apps to do the exact same thing as a text message, you
I
know?
know. It's
It's just like,
crazy.
why do we need that? Like just
Yeah.
send me a damn text. Like I don't want all these messages. It just drives me nuts. And I've got to go from one app to the other app to the other app to the other app and check. Oh, maybe I have to go back to the other app. Maybe I missed something there. Oh, maybe there's another
Hmm.
message and I have to go back.
I know.
I think they do it on purpose just to make you so you're just doing this ring around the rosy thing, just looking at all your
Totally.
different apps, and then you can never get off of it because, oh, I have to check an app, I have to check an app, I have to check an app because
It's a ding, 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 ding.
it's just
People who
awful.
don't have their notifications
Mm.
silenced drive me crazy. People
Oh yeah,
complain all the
oh
time. I
those
try
things are
to
not
call
on.
you.
Yeah.
Listen, my phone's always on silent. I don't
Hmm.
care. I can feel it when it rings. If I meant to pick it up and see that it's you, I will pick it up when it's ringing, or I will look at it on my own time. My phone is like a home phone. I don't want to
Hmm.
be that reachable. I don't want you to be able to, unless you're like my in intimate innermost family, right?
Hmm.
You shouldn't be able to get a hold of me that quick. So I'm very like I rarely do I jump on a phone call. There's like very few people, like four people in my life that I'll jump on the phone and be that reachable because it just causes anxiety. And when I'm at the
Hmm.
gym, I'm putting music on, um, but I'm not on my phone, right? I have to discipline. Okay, I have music, but like look at things outside of yourself because we start looking, our eyes are just like here, and it causes exhaustion when you can't look out. Have you ever looked at a screen for hours and then you look out a window and the window's fuzzy? I've had
Hmm.
that happen where I go, okay, I have to adjust my eyes. I have to be able to regularly be doing that. So I think we're just going back to regular roots. Like our regular roots is very simple stuff. Go outside, eat meat, right? We don't
Hmm.
have to get weird. That's what
Hmm.
I teach my clients. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to be weird. Let's just,
Hmm.
take a walk and eat some healthy food and just get in the gym and do this and do that. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say too, you mentioned your clients wanting to get like curvy and things like that. Might be too
Mm-hmm.
late, when people are adult, but that's one of the things that people don't realize is that, we have these little stick figure people walking around, like the Calvin Klein model
Oh,
or,
I can't
very,
stand
very,
it.
yeah. And part of that is because of lack of nutrition during adolescence and development.
Yeah.
If you don't get these essential fat soluble nutrients that only exist in animal foods, you're not going to develop
Wow.
properly. K2, D3, Those are
Mhm.
very important for facial and bone structure. So you're not going to get, as wide a jaw. You're going to get crooked teeth, crowded teeth. Although teeth are exactly the
Oh,
same, but they're expecting to come into a bigger jaw, and they should come in just
ooh,
be straight and nice and get all your wisdom teeth and everything like that. You're designed for that. It's just if you
wow.
don't get enough vitamin D3 or K2, it won't develop properly, or calcium as well.
This
And
makes
so you
so
need all of
sense.
those things. And
Yeah.
one of the things about being curvy is vitamin D. And we've been
Oh.
vilifying the sun, another natural thing that we've grown up in.
Hmm.
And we're not troglodytes. We're not underground dwellers that just found this strange new world, up above the
Cover your
surface.
eyes, stay away from
Yeah.
the sun.
Yeah, we're not like these chuds that are just like, underground and just like, just like, just need to avoid the sun. And, so we're actually designed to be out there. Our bodies are meant to
Yeah.
be out in the sun. Our eyes actually developed before Edison made the light bulb. Crazy as it sounds, but our eyes are
Exactly.
actually designed to take in light from the sun, as strange
Yeah.
as that is. And people just forget that. They think it destroys your eyes, it's going to destroy your body, it's going to destroy your skin. We're getting the least amount of sun exposure in recorded
I know.
history, and
And
we
we're
have the highest skin
depressed.
cancer and the highest skin cancer as well.
Wow.
And
And we're
so, yeah,
depressed, right? Which low
you
levels of
are.
vitamin D lead to
Yeah.
depression. So now we're on
And chronic disease.
pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Our
And
immune
what,
systems are
yeah,
compromised. We're pale.
absolutely.
We're
Yeah.
ugly. We're skinny. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. It tells you how you really feel. Like, we're ugly, skinny,
yeah.
stupid,
We're
useless.
dumb. We're
Yeah.
useless human beings, but it's so true. We're like,
Yeah.
and it's a weird concept, but humans were actually designed to live on planet Earth with
Mhm.
the sun, with the way it is,
Yeah.
and eat
Crazy
like
concept.
crazy
Yeah.
concept that God already gave us the skin and
Mm.
the eyes and the bones and the marrow to be able to survive on this planet. We don't actually have to have this $1 trillion industry of skin creams and all this anti-aging and surgery. I mean, I'm a big person of take care of your skin,
Hmm.
but yeah, I started going out in the sun more too, getting out of the cult of veganism. My skin used to burn from the sun. And
Mm.
I've heard some influencers who talked about it because I like to consume other people's content too. And like, well, what are they saying? What's their experience, right? And some people said once they started eating meat, some ex-vegans, their skin was able to stay in the sun without getting
Hmm.
burned. And now
Hmm.
I'm a woman of color, so I don't get burned, but I used to get this weird tingling, like, I don't know, it would be like it would hurt after a while. So I would avoid the sun. And
Hmm.
now I'll walk to the store without sunblock, which you would have never seen Joy do 10 years ago.
Mm.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt. It doesn't bother me. I mean, if I really want to shield my face so it doesn't get
Hmm.
wrinkly, I just put like a hat on, right?
Hmm.
Or beef tallow, right? Doesn't beef tallow have some
Beef tallow is
SPF?
great. It's about SPF 4. Emu oil is about
Okay.
SPF 8.
Oh,
But it's also just good for your skin. It helps hydrate and moisturize your skin, which helps it be healthier and protect, and that is protection in and of
mm-hmm,
itself.
mm-hmm.
And the other thing is vitamin D is your own natural sunblock. You want UV light
Wow.
on your skin, by the way. I mean, it's actually we have more photoreceptors on our skin than we do on our eyes. And so
Wow.
we get signals and communication, our body knows which hormones to pump out and things
We
like that
shouldn't even be
based on the
wearing
frequency of light.
clothes. We should be naked in the sun. We should go back to naked.
Probably, yeah. Well,
We
well,
really
then there's that
shouldn't.
whole other thing. There's a whole bunch of people out there sunning their taints and things
Oh,
like that. It's just god awful. Like,
you
I
know
don't care how good of like an improvement you get with that. Like, you can keep that one for yourself. That's
I
your own
know we
secret.
should
Like,
know about it.
oh God. But
Vaginal sunning
oh
experience.
no. Hey guys, just want to take a second to thank our sponsor at Carnivore Bar. I don't promote many products because honestly, all you need to be healthy is to just eat meat. For those times that you're out hiking, road tripping, or stuck at work and you want a nutritious snack that is just meat, fat, and salt if you want it, the Carnivore Bar is a great option. So I like this product not because it's just pure meat, but also because I want the carnivore market to thrive as well. And the more we support meat-only products, the more meat-only products there will be available in the mainstream. So if this sounds like something you'd like to get behind, check it out using my discount code Anthony to get 10% off, which also applies to subscriptions, giving you 25% off total. All right, thanks guys. And Yeah, so but vitamin D, we make it on the surface of our skin. It's actually our own natural UV protectant. And when you're
Mm,
not eating meat, you're not getting proper vitamin D because A,
wow.
you're not going to get vitamin D from your food, but you're also not going to get cholesterol. You're going to make some cholesterol, but the problem is when you're eating very plant-based, that the plants have their own cholesterol. They're called plant sterols or phytosterols.
Right.
And that is similar enough in chemical composition to our own cholesterol that when we absorb it into our gut, it signals our liver that there's cholesterol coming in, so we don't need to make as much. And so that's why this has been recommended by doctors for decades to eat, almonds and different sorts of things like that because it has
I
those
know.
plant sterols will lower your cholesterol, and cholesterol is bad because your body is trying
Ah.
to kill you, and so you have to like protect it from itself.
We weren't meant to live
And
on this planet,
yeah, with
doctor.
cholesterol, and our
We're
liver's
supposed to live
supposed to
on
make
a
cholesterol.
space
Yeah,
blurb somewhere without
that's it.
light and without gravity. That's how our
That's
bodies are.
it. Yeah, and so that lowers cholesterol because it stops our body from making cholesterol because, hey, we have
Hmm.
enough. Now you don't have enough. And vitamin D is synthesized from cholesterol. All of your sex steroid hormones are synthesized from cholesterol.
Wow.
Mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, estrogens, testosterone, progesterone,
Preach.
all these
Preach.
things. All this,
Preach
it's,
it.
it's all,
So
yeah,
now
it's
we
all
have
cholesterol.
pale, skinny, ugly troglodytes that can't stay in the
Hmm.
sun, and they are also, what are those people that can't have sex? Incels.
In cells. Yeah. Yeah.
If you are
There's that
vegan,
too.
this is you. This we're
And
calling you out,
impotent. Yeah,
vegans.
yeah, impotent and infertile. That's
Impotent.
another thing too.
Yes. The fertility
Lowest
rate has gone
testosterone rates,
down.
lowest fertility rates in recorded history, lowest testosterone rates in human history in recorded history.
Unbelievable.
You have worse sperm counts.
Soy
That's getting worse
boys.
and worse. It's not great. It's
It's
like
hard to
same.
find masculine men out there and feminine
Mm,
women because people's
mhm.
hormones are messed up.
Yeah, absolutely is. And again, stick figure, that comes from a lot of that's from vitamin D and largely vitamin D, at least for that. So vitamin D gives the secondary sexual characteristics of both men and women during puberty. So it
Wow.
broadens men's shoulders, narrows the waist. You get that classic V-shaped appearance of like the old school bodybuilders back
We
before they
like
just
that.
became
Yes.
mass monsters and things like that, and just
Yes,
junked up with
exactly.
steroids. But
Yeah.
the actual classical, male
Mm-hmm.
physique.
Mm-hmm.
And in women, it narrows the waist and widens the hips. So you get that
Wow.
hourglass figure. And
Yes.
which is probably why there's like so many bikini models coming out of Brazil because they eat a lot of meat and they're in the sun,
Ooh,
so they're
wow,
probably getting
look at
good vitamin
that.
D,
Exactly. This and
and
they're
now you got,
hotties out there. That's the
yeah,
hotties are going to
yeah.
Who
And
knew? Just get sunshine and eat meat. It's the opposite of what they tell us.
it's exact. Well, generally, I mean, that's a good rule of thumb is just whatever the authorities are telling you to do, probably not a good
Do
idea
the
as far
opposite,
as like as
exactly.
health advice.
Authorities and
Well,
celebrities
hmm
and anybody
yeah,
who's famous and rich, they're getting a check cut
yeah,
to say
to say
that.
that sort of thing. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
Hmm.
And yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, like you said, try it, experiment, look at it
Yep.
yourself, and just see. I mean, the only thing that matters is the results that you get as an
Yeah.
individual.
Yep.
Even if it's like you get better results as a vegan than a carnivore, like I don't care. Like I'm happy for you. I mean, you're not.
Hmm.
It's not going to happen. But if that were to happen, like I don't care. Like I'm not invested in this
Yeah.
or like, no, you have to do that. I don't care. I just want people to
Yeah.
be healthy and
You're
and
not
and get
religious about it, which
no,
is
I don't
great. I
care.
don't find that I was afraid initially when I went to try carnivore that it would be like the vegan world I came
Mm,
from. Very cultic, very like religious about it. Like, oh, you ate, you cheated, you don't count. But people
hmm
like literally, the carnivores I talked to, they don't care. They're like, cool, it
hmm
works for you, works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's very
hmm
healthy. See, because they have
Well,
vitamin D in their brain. So
yeah,
it's like we're
yeah,
getting people who are just chill, they're casual,
yeah,
healthy.
yeah,
Do you think it's
exactly.
been done? Well, I know the answer for myself, but do you think this has been done on purpose to hide the carnivore secret? Like, is it a secret that people are there? They forced us to. You think it's done on purpose, or do you think it's just there's nothing nefarious about it?
There's a lot of intention behind this. Yeah, I mean, you have people being paid to explicitly attack the carnivore diet and attack meat and all these other sorts of things. And
Hmm.
you're seeing it now. I mean, it's a very coordinated effort. And if there's the coordination, then there's coordination. There's a plan.
Right.
There's people saying, hey, let's all do this at the same time.
Yeah.
There was a I forget the name of her channel, but she had some fitnessy health sort of thing, and the channel like blew up just in a year. So it looked like this could have been like a sort of a manufactured account. She had every single post was just like perfectly structured and scripted and lighted and edited,
Hmm.
and it's 1 year old exactly, like this month, and she's got 1.5 million followers, and everything is just it was very plant-based, very
Mm.
mundane, calories in, calories out,
Hmm.
don't eat junk food and all that sort of stuff, but have some, but don't go crazy, but don't stay away from it because oh you should have some or else you're gonna binge all the classic tropes, but
Classic tropes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and like and
Bull.
nothing about meat, is all the protein thing. Oh, this high protein, almond butter, bar sort of thing. It was
Yeah.
all plant-based sort
Got
of
it.
proteins and things. And then all of a sudden, there was a post like a couple weeks ago where it was just like, I tried the carnivore diet because I wanted abs and I got abs. It was so great. But then the health issue started. I lost my period and I got PCOS and there's like shows her in the hospital with like a drip in her
Oh,
arm and things like
she's a
that. And,
plant
then
plant.
acne and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, you don't actually get hospitalized with PCOS and you don't need
Oh.
IV medication for PCOS either. Sorry, that's not what that is. And it's like, oh,
Uh-oh.
I don't have my
Uh-oh.
period. I need to go on a drip.
Fact
And like,
check.
and
What are
yeah, and it
you
was just like,
dripping? Blood? Like,
yeah. And yeah, it's like we're just gonna pump estrogen into your veins and like
oh
and then
my
it
God.
was but then she was saying so I did carnivore for 8 weeks and it just destroyed my health, right? And now it's been 12 weeks on since she did that. So at the time of the video, she said it was 12 weeks on, right? And this was 2 weeks ago. And everyone was, oh, it could have been before, it could have been no. She said she was still doing this, going through it, and it has been 12 weeks. She just posted it. She's saying she's talking about now. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's 12 weeks that she's been recovering, and she says she's still not recovered. And then 8 weeks on that this did. So that's 5 months. Her account's only
Oh my.
existed for a year. You go back through the last 5 months of her stuff, it's all plant-based, plant-based. There's no acne anywhere. She's not talking about
Oh
PCOS
my
now going in the hospital or
gosh. Are
anything
you
like that. There's
serious?
nothing. There's nothing. And there's not a word of it. It's the only thing that's ever mentioned that. And then literally the next day or the day after, like within very close proximity of this, other big accounts, with hundreds of thousands or over a million followers that all push this whole processed food is okay, like having some sugar and this and that. It's not that big a deal. And, you're just being,
Hmm.
scaremongers and, putting out, studies on seed oils and aspartame and all these other sorts of things, saying they're not bad and all that sort of stuff.
Oh
And
my
some of them who have been
gosh.
paid to say this because they got busted by the FTC and got a written warning. It's public record right now and threatened with a $50,000 fine if they don't straighten up. Now, people like that are now have a fully edited and scripted and published video, responding to her video that just came out the day before and saying, "Oh, well, this you see this shows that carnivore is a really bad idea. It's an influencer who's come out. She's broken her side. She's talking about this and talking about her experience and this, that, and the other." And it's just like multiple people are doing that, and they all published on the same day. So that's a
What?
coordinated effort, and that's
Absolutely.
that's a complete and utter
Absolutely.
con. And I see
No.
fake accounts popping up saying, "Oh, hey, I'm carnivore, but oh, now I'm going to stop carnivore because of my cholesterol." I was like, "This is a fake account. You've got six
Mhm.
posts." Like what the hell are you talking about? And like,
It's
and
so crazy. They call it astroturfing. Have you heard
oh
that
yeah,
term? Yeah,
mm,
so grassroots is a natural
yeah,
movement that comes from the roots. It's like grassroots. It's like people,
hmm
carnivore is very grassroots. It's shared
yeah,
naturally. There's no like overhead carnivore, I don't
Right.
know, like leader, and that we have to follow and eat this certain thing. So astroturfing, which is fake grass, is when a
Mm,
company, and the pharmaceutical companies are known for doing this. They did this with
mm,
Adderall and all those studies for kids, is they would hire fake people, or they hire real people to create fake personas online,
mm,
and they would infiltrate all the mommy blogs and they say, "Oh, my kid had the same problem like you, Susan, and this is why I used Adderall," and then
mm,
so now moms are reading these blogs going, "Well, this helped for this mom who looks like me, and wow, she reads this blog and she's on this Facebook group," and before you know it, there's a movement started, but it was
yeah.
started by, and literally, if you think about these companies that have
Mhm.
billions of dollars to put
Yeah.
into this to attack
Yeah.
small creators like you, were just like literally like, "Hey, I'm a doctor that just happens to eat this way. It helped healed me and my patients. I want to tell people about it."
Mm,
And then you don't have all this, brand money recognition,
mhm.
Coca-Cola budget to do what they do. So this is what they do. This is their tactics, and it's astroturfing and so many
Yeah,
companies.
right.
But it's been exposed because like
Hmm.
you're smart, you can see it. People can just do a Google search and be like, "What? Let me ask
Hmm.
ChatGPT real quick. Oh yeah, this is
Hmm.
fake." But they're
Hmm.
dumb. They're all like old, people in their 60s that just are like, "I'll give you $100,000. Make those accounts. Make it look
Yeah, yeah,
good."
yeah.
They
Well,
can't stop the small creators like us. And we're some
no.
of the bigger creators on the internet
Mm,
compared to normal people, but we're small compared to what we come up against, the
yeah.
major pharmaceutical companies, the major big food, right? We have big pharma,
Hmm.
big food. It's crazy.
Mm. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I mean, they've been doing this sort of thing for decades. And so, they've been vilifying meat, vilifying fat to
Hmm.
to push their own products, their sugary processed
Yep.
food, plant-based
Meanwhile, they're
products.
eating the best steaks and fats, I'm sure,
Always,
right? These
always. Yeah, they were
executives
they
are.
were definitely serving steak at Davos, that's for sure. Always saying that, let
Yes,
let them eat bugs and like, but we're eating steaks.
exactly. The bugs thing is crazy because there's
Oh
vegans who
God.
embrace that. And this is the weird thing when I noticed in veganism is they were embracing the fake meat. Okay.
Mm.
I used to eat a lot of that fake meat. By the grace of God, I didn't
Oh,
die. It's
yeah,
so
yeah.
disgusting. But then when they started doing the lab grown meat, I
Mm,
never tried that. I
good.
mean,
It's
Bill Gates
disgusting.
owns a lot of these fake meat companies.
Yeah.
And I used to eat the vegan section. I just walk by and I give it the middle finger now. I used to eat all that crap. Fake
Yeah.
cheese, fake meat. I mean, and then I started going, "Oh, this makes me sick. I don't really like eating this." And then
Mm,
luckily, I like to cook, so I would create my own things. But still, you're creating out of vegetables, and you're thinking it's healthy. It's not. It's just this catch 22. If I eat more vegetables, I'll be healthy. But to eat healthy, you actually have to not eat a lot of vegetables, right?
hmm.
But nobody tells you that. They just tell you eat
Yeah.
vegetables. So all of it, I believe all of it's created, all of it's astroturf, like you explained, all
Hmm.
of it, and but they can't keep up with the real voices, with real people, real
Yeah.
subscribers, real
Yeah.
individuals who think for themselves. They just can't compete with authenticity because you can't
Mm,
fake a conversation like this. No matter
yeah.
how bad things get, I think real people are going to see the truth and they're going to be able to discern fact from fiction. They're going to
Hmm.
look for it. That's what happened with me. I started going, okay, fine. Grassroots, my husband telling me about telling me about carnivore, and then I doing the research and then finding all these people online like you who
Hmm.
created content and then being like, okay, let me try this, and then feeling great, feeling freaking fantastic.
Hmm.
Boom. Why would I go
Yeah.
back? They don't have you
Yeah.
once you try it. That's why they always try to stop you
That's it.
from trying it.
Yeah.
That's why the scare tactics. Because if they said,
Mm,
you know what, if vegans were honest and they said, you know what, veganism is the best, but try carnivore, and if you don't feel better, because you won't, because vegan's the best, come back to
mm,
veganism. No, because then it would lose all their
mm.
people. That's what cults
Yeah.
do. Is it just
Yeah.
don't read about it, don't look at it, don't
Yeah.
research it. Just
Yeah.
believe me. I'm telling you, it's the
Mm,
best. So just, oh, okay.
yeah.
What?
Just burned through them.
They gave up.
And yeah, so I
They
beat the
gave
game,
up.
it was a game of attrition, and so I just sort of wore it down and finally
Oh
got
my
drunk.
God.
And even though I was not trying to on that day, I was just drinking at the pace I've been drinking at for the last 3 days and
Oh.
not been had a problem